Today, Liss and I are going to share our experiences and perspectives regarding muscle testing, using a pendulum, using a sway test, and most importantly, somebody else doing that for us.
Hi, and welcome to Light for Life. If you are returning to our channel, thank you. We value and appreciate you. Our aim is to shine a bright light on your inner splendor and assist to connect you to your magnificence via what we intend to be enlightened sharing, potentially educational, and hopefully entertaining information, as well as encouragement for new perspectives. If you are new here, you are most welcome. We do hope that you will find our content highly beneficial and enjoyable. I am Liz. I'm a science of mind practitioner and a teacher of various healing modalities applicable to all aspects of the self and this life.
And I am Lori. I am a holistic wellness researcher and educator. Welcome to Connections with Liss and Lori. We use the space to offer our perspective regarding multiple different topics that we certainly hope you find inspiring. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I've had my own experiences with this. I have been trained in kinesiology or muscle testing, and I see really clearly how it can be a great tool to use. But I also see really clearly how it is still, and I don't even know how to say it. I don't want to say it can be abused or misused, but it can be flawed. I guess maybe that's a better word, is as with everything, the system can be flawed. And when people use an external source for this, I don't want to come from a fear-based place, but I do want to be really clear that we are our greatest compass. I am my greatest compass for myself. I know that the minute that I use an external source for any information that I truly need, I'm opening the door to errors, false information, false beliefs, distortion, static, whatever it is that you want to call it. And I do want to caution people to exercise really strong intuition, discernment, discretion, awareness when you're relying on somebody like a provider or a chiropractor or even a friend to muscle test for you, to give you the information outside of yourself. And I think it's an important topic to discuss for several reasons. You are the master and commander of your ship. You know your body better than anybody. You know what you need. It's just a practice learning how to be your own compass. We previously talked in a different episode about heart coherence, and I think it really comes down to understanding the voice of your heart, understanding the wisdom that you do have inside, and relying on that to guide you and not an external source.
Absolutely, honey. I've got so much to say on this topic. My only concern is that I'm going to forget to say something that's really, really critical to say. So I'm going to try and keep all my ducks very nicely in rows here. So the first thing that I want to say is that I 100% stand behind energetic testing. Whatever shape or form that takes, whether we're talking about pendulums, various different kinds, we're talking about muscle testing, or we're talking about intuitively, energetically feeling into. I 100% stand behind that. It is the most amazing guidance system. It's honestly incredible. And as someone with what I consider a gift of making energetic connections with my one-on-one clients, with my friends and people I love, I personally would never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, energetically test for someone else. Never. And there are multiple reasons for that. The primary one being that our issues, particularly our subconscious issues, are in our tissues.
Yes.
And the tissues that they are primarily in are the muscles.
Yes.
Because the body will only make use of organ tissue, cellular tissue, when it absolutely has to. When there's a particular energetic resonance that simply cannot go anywhere else in the body. Science of mind is the entire science of that. But because most of our subconscious issues are in our muscle tissues, very often when we are energetically testing, what we're getting a result from is our resistance. That's what's in the muscle tissue, is our resistance. Now, sometimes that resistance is positive guidance. No, that's not good for you. And sometimes the resistance is our own issues.
Mm-hmm.
What I think or believe about this particular thing, this kind of practice, this drug, this service, this doctor, this hospital, this day of the month, you name it, false beliefs and resistance is going to come up, particularly in muscle testing. So it's already a difficult thing to discern correctly about. And now you're going to complicate it even further by adding an external source to administer that. What are their beliefs? What resistance are they holding? Because they are adding that to the energetic process. So, like I said, even as someone who makes really profound energetic connections, receives really profound intuition, I would never, ever, ever perform a pendulum test for someone or perform a muscle test for someone. If for no other reason, then I don't believe in doing that. And so my resistance about not believing in doing that is going to come up with an incorrect result. But then even further than that, there is such a thing as body intuition.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I have personally always had that so strong that I would say it's 100% reliable for myself. And I believe everybody can develop that for themselves. I think it is stronger in some people for several reasons. One is physical body trauma and how young physical body trauma was experienced. That can ignite the gift very early on. The other is also just the practice of trusting the body and being really tuned in to when you know when your liver is speaking to you, or you know when your guts are speaking to you, and that's not nearly as crazy as it sounds. We sit around right now, Lori, and if everything is fine, we're not aware of our systems. We're not aware of any of our organs. We're not aware of any of the millions of functions our body is currently carrying out. When all is not well, we are made aware of a certain function, of a certain symptom, of a certain organ. We just know something's not right here. And sometimes it takes the form of discomfort, or it takes the form of pain. But other times it just takes the form of, notice me. Why am I aware of my liver right now? Because if all was well, I shouldn't be. So if I am aware of my liver right now, it's because my liver is trying to communicate with me. And that body intuition can be so strong that it can be the most reliable of diagnostic tools in terms of knowing, without knowing how we know, what might be amiss inside of ourselves. and nobody else, I'm very sorry, can tell you that. A blood test can give you some information. A scan can give you some information. A healer with a lot of integrity can give you some, but your wellness is 100% your energetic job, because that's where all distortion and disease begins, in the energy. And so only you can tap into that, read and interpret that, and then diagnose that for yourself, in my opinion.
I wholeheartedly agree. I'm particularly focused on the part where anytime that we use a practitioner and they're muscle testing for us, not with us, but for us, I do feel like it opens the door to all kinds of static and interference and misperception and ideas and beliefs, especially if they are negatively biased according to XYZ for PDQ, it is going to come through. And that's probably one of the biggest truths that I would like to present, is that anytime you involve another person and turn your healing over to them, uh, oh my goodness, I don't even know where to begin with that. First of all, for me, in my opinion, it's a form of abandonment. You're abandoning yourself, you're abandoning your wisdom, you're abandoning your own knowing and turning that over to another person. And I'm not saying this with judgment. I did this. I did this in the past. I didn't know what I was doing. And I think that's what's so crucial, is we don't know that, in a sense, we're jumping ship and letting somebody else steer our way. That's no, no, let's not do that. If we want to receive the guidance from someone that is going to help us determine what is right for us, that's different. You know, there's a gray area there. And there's nothing wrong with seeking guidance from someone, but a big difference between turning it over to someone else to make the decisions for you, as opposed to helping you understand your own wisdom and your own answers and your own yeses and nos, and navigating your path with you, not for you.
Yes, at the very least, it has to be cooperative. At the very, very least, that's where we have to start, that we are not just a passive recipient of whatever, but we are actually an active engager in a cooperation. And there are times where the highest wisdom is to turn the self over to someone else's hands, because we actually require their expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So just like we're not going to attempt to figure out what's wrong with our own car and then fix it ourselves when we're not a mechanic, if there's something seriously wrong with us, particularly something that endangers our lives,
Mm-hmm.
then the highest wisdom is to avail ourselves of the experts who know what to do about that.
Yeah.
But even so, the best experts in the world will make a cooperation out of doing that with you. Even though they're the ones with all the cards and all the knowledge, they will still want to have your cooperation in your own healing journey. So how much more so when we're talking about something purely energetic? Because the history of humanity thus far, Lori, is the externalization of power.
Mm-hmm.
If we had to summarize the history of humanity and why we are where we are and haven't progressed any further, that's why. That is my one diagnosis.
Yeah.
The externalization of power.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what we're putting that in, whether it's the expert, the authority, or the pill that I'm going to swallow, the healing modality I'm going to follow, the practice I believe in, the thoughts and ideas I buy into. It really doesn't matter what form the externalization takes. If I am not bringing the cooperation of my highest wisdom and guidance to that, then I am literally bleeding my power,
Mm-hmm.
and healing cannot result.
Yeah.
Chronic dependency, perhaps, a total misguided path to what I think is wellness, but never will be. It can't possibly result in actual wholeness and healing if I'm not bringing my highest consciousness to that process.
Yeah.
We have to start realizing how powerful we are,
Yes.
and that power is in us. It is not out there. That pill is only going to work as well as I believe it will.
Yeah.
This healer is only as fantastic and attuned as I allow myself to think he or she is. This expert is only as right as I choose to believe them. It
Yes.
all comes down to us, all of it.
Yes.
So absolutely, we should energetically test everything. And we should add our highest energy to everything and thereby redeem and bless it. That's what makes something holy, right? To make it whole means I'm adding my own blessing. I'm adding myself to it. That's what makes it holy. We should be doing that for everything in life. But we need to be doing that wisely.
Right. Right. And it can be intimidating. It is intimidating to learn how to not only how to, muscle test or to use a pendulum or do a sway test or anything like that. And there's things that can influence why it doesn't seem to be working. But it's like everything else is we have to practice it. You are not going to be a perfect muscle tester right out of the gate. It does take a little bit of learning how to do that. It took me forever to really be able to use a pendulum that I feel has been effective with solid yes and a solid no. It took a lot of practice for me because first of all, I couldn't get that thing to swing. It just wouldn't do anything. So it's something that you do have to work with, but you're working with you. You and you are working together to uncover the answers that are already sitting there. They're not coming from somewhere else. They're already sitting there waiting for you to tap into them. And to learn how to uncover them just takes a few minutes. It doesn't have to take forever, but it does take that relationship of trust that you build with yourself.
Yes, and awareness, honey. Awareness. Because, so often we are given guidance and we overlook it.
Yes.
It's like, gosh, I don't know what's wrong. There must be something the matter with my throat because I was struggling to swallow my pills this morning. Really? Really? You don't think perhaps your throat and the intuition of your body is trying to tell you that you shouldn't be swallowing the pill? Maybe? If you've never had a problem swallowing a pill, and now all of a sudden this morning, why is our first go-to always, there must be something wrong? Why can we not learn to make our first go-to, what is this trying to tell me?
Yes.
Because we're being spoken to and we're being guided all the time by our body in particular. We don't need anyone else. Our body is doing it for us all the time. We're just so good at ignoring it
Yes.
or finding something else to pin it on. Again, the externalization of power.
Yes. Yes. And the indoctrination and the programming that most of us grew up with is, if we have symptoms, we take them to a doctor to get a diagnosis, and then we get a pill. We're never taught to simply just ask your cells what it's trying to say.
Exactly. And it's like, all right, so maybe I don't want to learn how to be a mechanic, to go back to my car analogy. Maybe I have zero interest in learning how to fix cars, right? So what I can do is I can apply myself to finding What kind of mechanic is the best for the model car I have? And where exactly can I find one of those? And then taking my car to them, right?
Right.
We always have a role to play. It doesn't mean that we have to become the expert in anything, because heaven knows none of us can. None of us can become the expert about it all. Even the things that we think we know, how often don't we end up wrong just a few years down the line? But it is about understanding that we always have a critical role to play, and the energy will follow us.
Yes.
We have to initiate it, though. It can't come from outside of ourselves.
Agreed.
I think I've said everything I wanted to say. If I haven't, I've forgotten what the rest was.
The only thing that I would add is that there's an abundance of information anywhere that you look that will help you understand how to muscle test, how to use a pendulum, how to sway test. But really, it just comes down to learning how to listen to the self, to your inner wisdom. It's sitting right there waiting for you to tap into it. It's been there all along. It never left you. And it can be a beautiful tool to help you along the way.
Yes, and if I can plug Lori for once, if anyone does have questions about their physical state, their condition, their wellness, and their healing, this girl right here is an expert of note. So she would be a great place to go to.
Well, thank you. Thank you for connecting with Light for Life. If you appreciate reminders, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can receive those notifications. If you would like to work with one of us, you can find our contact information in the About section of this channel.
Yes, thank you for connecting with Light for Life. Please share your insights, your questions, and your comments with us in the comment section below. We value your feedback. And we really hope that we will see you for our next episode. We upload one every Thursday. Until then, bye-bye and be joyful.
Until we connect again, we send you love and light.